Was there ever a legitimate chance of Gege making everybody happy with the ending of Jujutsu Kaisen? I think the dust has settled and we finally had enough time to marinate with the ending that we did get. Gege said that this ending would have made a lot of fans happy, but was there any way that he could have made every fan happy with the ending? Let's talk about it. One of the things that got a lot of people into Jujutsu Kaisen, including myself, was the dark tones and the overall world building. Right from the jump, we're introduced to a lot of different characters, and it kind of made it fresh and just always something new was going on. And the very thing that kept the story fresh in the beginning came back to bite it in the end, because a lot of these characters kind of felt like they were shelved or just underutilized in the grand scheme of things, and that mainly comes down to the fact that Gege probably planned to these characters off early on, but decided to keep them around for one reason or another. This one will be a little bit controversial because the Culling Game arc is one of my favorite arcs in the entire series, but even Gege stated that he was not 100% satisfied with the way that it turned out because he wanted it to be more of a tournament style, and what we got was something that laid the groundwork for a lot of things that never happened, so it got our hopes really high, kinda for nothing. So like I said, this is one of my favorite arcs in the entire series because we get some good action, a lot of information, cool plot twists, and we get introduced to some amazing characters like Hikari, Hana, Takaba, and Higuruma. There's a few other characters I really enjoyed in this arc, but then there's a few less than memorable ones that we don't really need to talk about. But the main problem I had with the Culling Game arc was characters like Yuki, who had such an overpowered technique, just got underutilized, and this arc overall laid the groundwork for some things that just never happened, like the three-way domain clash, Sukuna being the disgraced slash fallen one, and the merger. That was the main one we didn't get, but I really wish we could have saw something more with it. Despite all that, I did really enjoy that arc, probably because my boy Yuta got a lot of screen time, but in the end, I think Yuta got done a little dirty, but before we talk about that, we gotta talk about something else. We've got to talk about Gojo getting hit by the world-cutting slash, because I can accept Gojo losing. I could even accept the fact that Gojo died fighting Sukuna, but I cannot accept Gojo getting off-screened. How did we go from the Gojo 1 panel to Gojo being in the afterlife at the start of the next chapter, then Gojo being chopped in half on the ground? The strongest character in the series cannot get off-screened like that, but that's just my opinion. Back to our boy Mr. Akotsu, the MVP of the Shinjuku Showdown arc. Gege did him mad dirty though. How are you going to have him have this badass entrance, get washed, finally get in a position to open your domain, get washed again, come back in Gojo's body, get washed again, like I'm glad you survived my boy, but Gege was mad disrespectful with the way he did you. One thing that would have made fans happy is if we would have got a Heian flashback arc or a Sukuna past arc. We could have saw how he got the scar on his face, who did that to him, just kind of how he ran things back in the day. Now this is just my theory, but I'm thinking Gege might drop a canon movie in the future that kind of ties all this together. It'd be a really good moneymaker for the franchise, and it would give the fans what they want to see. And shit, while we're on the topic, I want a Toji movie if we're gonna go that route. There were a lot of details in this series that never got expanded upon, but Yuji alone in that last arc had so many that I feel like we need to talk about just that. The boy chosen by the Black Sparks, not another peep about that. Yuji opening his domain, we didn't get a name, we didn't get any conditions, we have no idea what his domain even does. I do have a theory about that. So when Yuji takes Sukuna down memory lane, Sukuna says that sometimes sorcerers bond in battle as a side effect to curse energy due to human emotion, and then he follows that up by saying, but this feels different. Part of me feels like this was Yuji's domain, we just didn't get a specific explanation or what any of the conditions were, because this happens a few other times in the series, like very early on with Todo when they manifested memories, the same thing in the Shibuya arc with Choso, and you're probably saying, well, Sukuna did the same thing with Jogo. But whose body was Sukuna in? If Yuji can manifest Sukuna's technique, I think Sukuna would definitely be able to manifest Yuji's technique. But then again, at those earlier times, Yuji didn't say domain expansion, so that's why only part of me feels like it is his domain. I don't know if I explained that very well, so if you want a more in-depth video on that theory, let me know down in the comments, and I will make it happen. Overall, I did like the ending of Jujutsu Kaisen, especially the last chapter. I went in knowing it was a shonen, and shonens typically end in a very similar fashion, so I knew it was going to be a little bit of a happier ending, but I thought it was done fairly well. Was it rushed? Hell yes, it was rushed, but with his health and the time frame that he put on getting it done, I think he wrapped it up very well. So back to the original question, was it legitimately possible for Gege to create an ending that would make every single fan happy? No. Not a chance, because I'm a die-hard JJK fan and I really enjoyed the ending, but you guys just listened to me bitch for the past 5 minutes about what I didn't like. So we gotta keep in mind when most mangas end, most people do not like the endings, but once it gets animated, we tend to forget all about that and we just move forward. There's a lot more that I probably missed, like the John Wary translations, but I was just freestyling this video as I went along. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and let me know what you wish Gege would have done differently with JJK.